So where'd we leave off? This is video number 2, and we're just doing the visual. Oh, that's not for the visual, that's the UV light. Where did I put my flashlight down? Okay, so I explained about video 1, a little bit of evidence, nothing online, nothing that I would holler at or point out really bad, because so this side would normally get wet over here when it condensates and it could gather dust, but it hasn't. The other side is the warm side, because that's the high side line right there, the liquid line. Another thing we do, where did I put my leak detector? I walked away with my leak detector. Oh no, I have it right there. You can see it behind the window inside there. I was looking for a leak through the dash. But I went around with the leaks. The first thing before removing the caps is I do leak checking at the caps before removing them. I don't even know if there's refrigerant in this line. I see a little bit of dust buildup. Do you see that dust buildup where that seam is right there, where there's an O-ring? Remember, this is a Subaru. So you automatically change those O-rings. Even if you don't think they're leaking, you change them. If you do think that, you change them. If it rolls into your shop, you change them. No matter what you do, you change these O-rings all the time. Now we do see a little bit of dust buildup right there. And like it's oily, not like it was dust buildup on wet. If this condensates and you're in a dusty place, you can get dust on a line and have no oil. I came down to the bottom with the refrigerant leak detector. At least this vehicle you could climb under because there's a lot of space. But if you come down here and you see this pipe right here, this tube, see that? There's a little water. Let's see, there's water inside that right there, and I'm hitting it. You do not want to stick your leak check tester up there because it'll suck into water if it was working. So this one apparently may have been working. At least that tells me there might be refrigerant. There should be refrigerant, because if there's water coming out of the case, unless there's an evaporator leak or some other reason, not evaporator, heater core leak, and it doesn't look green, you stick your sniffer right by that hole right there. That could possibly give you some tattletales. There's no dye in the system. I already tried looking. I see a leak. I'll show you another one. And the UV light picked up nothing. You would shine your UV light up inside the hose. Sometimes you get lucky and the UV dye comes down the tube at the bottom of the pan, and you can see some glowing dye in there. That happens sometimes. So that's another inspection thing that you would do. We'll take the let's go for the pressure right now. So I don't even have my gauges with me. I'm just going to, I don't want that right now. Let's get back. Let me have this back again. Let me get 0. Shows 0 because I got 0 right here. So let's see if we have refrigerant in our system. So without using my gauges, you could just use something like this. You could have just an analog gauge hooked up to the end of one of these. You don't have to be fancy. Doesn't require batteries. You're just checking for pressure. So there we go. I'm hooked up there. What do we got? 92 psi. 92 psi. Hold on 1 minute. This car hasn't been driven in a long time. Everything is cold. It's only like 68 degrees outside. It's warm in the car. So the car is about 105 degrees inside. Maybe 112. It's been sitting out here a while, but as you can see, it's an overcast day, and we're going in winter time in San Francisco. But 92 degrees, and this engine, the engine oil right here, this is room temperature. You see, I'm touching with the sensitive part of my skin. Sometimes I could do this too. I've used gloves so much I can actually feel heat through my gloves to a certain time. But when I really want to feel sensitive, I use the sensitive part of my hand, and that's room temperature, and room temperature is only 60 some degrees. So 92 is suspicious, but it's warm in here, and the evaporator might be hot enough. There's enough heat soaked through the evaporator, the case is hot inside, that it raises the pressure of the refrigerant and moves it, pressurizes it out here. But I'm going to put on a refrigerant identifier and look at this, because at 68 degrees, 65 degrees outside, car's not running, the engine hasn't been running. Yeah, let me see what the percentage of air in that refrigerant is. Oh, leaks. Let's come over here. This is a Forester. Forester had their condenser TSB, but here's the other one. Let's get that out. You see that big oil stain right there? So this is the other common one, way down there at the bottom. Let's see if I can get some lamp. So you follow that receiver dryer down and you can see the dark stain with dust on it down there. That's another one. Let's see if we can see it a little better right here. All right, there we go. You see that old shiny oil and black residue buildup? That is a common leaker right there. Another one, little tiny leaks, and I mean really tiny leaks periodically on the condenser, on the tubes, but they don't always show right away when you're low on refrigerant. And we just had some rain recently, and the rain washes away the PAG oil on this one, and now it's clean after a rain. It just rained, so any oil could have been washed away. So I have no visuals, but there could be leaks there. Oh, inside. So let's go inside. Oh, and show you no dye in the system. Oops, knock that down. Put that over. Get that out of here. If I turn on the UV light, no dye in the system there. I already checked over on the other side. You can see where I have dye. You see that's spilt dye on my gauges right there. So there's no dye in the system. When I look down there, there's no dye. So nobody filled this up with dye. We have 92 PSI. This has been sitting here for hours. I have it on zero fan speed. We want to make sure we have it on the face. It was up there. I already had my sensor up there. So 0 fan speed. I want to make sure it's on recycle. It's all the way on cold. And I'm just gonna kick it up a little bit to get a little puff where I can barely feel it on my eyes. There we go. Nothing. On. There we go. Nothing. So this has been sitting for hours, and I just went on enough to where I just felt a little bit of movement of air coming from the case. And if this has been sitting for hours under a static pressure, not active, the temperature of the aluminum is hot, this might be one where it only leaks when the evaporator gets cold, stops leaking when it gets hot. Or it could be the other way around. Your evaporator could leak when it gets hot and the pressure goes up, but when it gets cold, it stops leaking. So there's different ways, or vibration. Okay, so nothing super obvious sitting for hours. I could take this off now. And I already went around all outside with this. There was nothing obvious. Everything is pointing to visuals right now. We seen the really obvious one at the condenser down here at the receiver dryer. We're not sure there. These are always getting replaced. Now I want to see if the system, I just don't want to go after the leaks. Now let's see if the system operates. Let's see if the electrical, the clutch gap looks good. It's getting up there, but it looks good. You could look that up on your anything you have, like my CYTK. Actually, I was looking up on the last video. I just got a phone call from Ghana. He has a 2024 Ford F-150 Limited Hybrid that was a flooded vehicle that was, I guess, shipped over to Ghana, and it got up and running after the flood damage, but now supposedly the AC's not working, and he's going to see what that is. I was just giving him some specs and telling him to check if it was saltwater flooding, saltwater that intrudes into the electrical connectors and it's conductive between the pins of the 3-phase, and the computer picks it up as a short to ground and shuts down the power. Could be one of the problems. Don't know how bad it was flooded, and hopefully he contacts me and lets me know, or sends me a text message and let me know. I'd like to know how that goes. Now we know where all our flooded vehicles go. They ship them over to the other countries, and California, which is like another country. All right guys, I'll see you here later from coming to you straight from the communist country of California. See you guys.